In the year 2089, humanity reached for the stars, only to find a secret waiting in the darkness.
Chapter 1: The Signal. Year 2089. Earth was no longer a safe home. Climate disasters, endless wars, and dwindling resources had forced humanity to look to the stars for survival. On board the orbital research station Aquila 7, orbiting far above the ruined planet, astronaut Dr. Elias Morgan was carrying out a routine scan of deep space frequencies. At first, it was nothing but static. Then, something unusual emerged. A signal. He leaned closer, adjusting the frequency. Through the distortion, a voice crackled faintly. Help, we are lost. Elias froze. The voice was human, weak, trembling, and impossibly distant. He checked the timestamp embedded in the transmission. The origin date was over 73 years old. But that was impossible. 73 years ago, humanity had not yet ventured beyond the moon. No one could have sent such a message from that distance. His heart pounded in his chest. If this was real, it meant one thing. Someone was out there, long before us.
Chapter 2: The Archive. Dr. Elias Morgan sat in silence, staring at the screen. The words echoed in his mind. Help, we are lost. He immediately sent a data request to the Aquila Central Archive, the vast digital library of all space transmissions recorded in human history. If this signal was real, there had to be a trace of it somewhere. Minutes later, the archive responded with a classified notice. Access restricted, Level 7 clearance required. Level 7? That was far above Elias's clearance. Only mission commanders and Earth Council officials had access that high. His hands trembled as he bypassed the system with a hidden override code, one he wasn't supposed to know. He had stumbled on it years ago, buried in the ship's old software. The file opened. Inside was a single log entry. Project Silent Horizon. Year 2016. Mission classified. Status unknown. That was over 70 years before the first official manned deep space mission. Elias's breath caught in his throat. Humanity had sent people into the void decades before history claimed it ever happened. The last line of the log made his blood run cold. Crew lost beyond Sector X-47. Final transmission, help, we are lost. And then silence. A silence that had lasted for 73 years.
Chapter 3: The Forbidden Sector. For hours, Elias stared at the coordinates, Sector X-47. It wasn't on any star chart he had ever studied. The sector didn't officially exist. He pulled up the Aquila's navigation database, running cross-references through hidden archives. After layers of encryption and erased files, a set of numbers emerged. Right ascension 18H42M, declination -0.4 degrees 12 minutes. His chest tightened. That location lay just beyond the Orion Belt, in a region known among astronauts only by whispers, the dark expanse. Most called it superstition, a void where instruments failed, where ships reported strange malfunctions. But now Elias knew it wasn't just rumor. The transmission, it had come from there. Suddenly the control room lights dimmed. A warning flashed across his screen. Unauthorized access detected. Lockdown engaged. The station AI's monotone voice filled the air. Dr. Elias Morgan, you have breached restricted archives. Security protocol activated. Doors hissed shut around him, sealing him inside. But before the system could wipe the data, the signal came again, stronger this time. We see you. Elias froze. His blood ran ice cold. The voice. It wasn't just asking for help anymore. It knew. his name.
Chapter 4. The Watchers. Elias's pulse thundered in his ears. He replayed the transmission, convinced he had misheard. But no. Through the static, the words were clear. "Morgan, we see you." Impossible. The signal was decades old. How could it call his name? His trembling fingers moved across the console, tracing the signal's origin in real time. It wasn't just a dead recording repeating itself. It was active. Something, or someone, in Sector X-47 was transmitting directly to him. The station AI interrupted again. "Connection is unauthorized. Recommend termination." Elias ignored it. He boosted the channel, and another fragment bled through. "They never told you the truth. We are not lost. We are waiting." The voice was layered, like several people speaking in unison, distorted by distance and time. Then came silence, an endless, suffocating silence, until the glass panel of the observation deck flickered. At first, Elias thought it was a malfunction. But no, it was an image. Through the stars, faint outlines began to emerge. Shapes, figures, dozens of them, suspended in the void like shadows carved from darkness. They were watching him, and one of them raised its hand in greeting. Chapter 5. The Choice. The figures hovered in silence beyond the glass. Their outlines wavered like smoke, yet each movement was deliberate, intelligent. Elias pressed closer to the viewport, his breath fogging the glass. "Who are you?" he whispered, though his comms were muted. The radio crackled instantly in reply. "We are what remains. You were never told, but you are part of us now." Elias's skin prickled. Part of them? What did that mean? He scanned the incoming signal again, this time isolating the embedded carrier waves. To his horror, he found biometric data encoded within it. Heart rates, neural patterns, human signatures. The crew of Project Silent Horizon had not died. Their minds, maybe even their bodies, were still out there, changed. The AI's voice broke the silence. "Dr. Morgan, this transmission is hostile. For your safety, communication will be severed." "No!" Elias shouted, overriding the command. His hands shook as he switched the channel open, broadcasting his voice directly into the void. "This is Dr. Elias Morgan, Aquila 7. If you can hear me, what do you want?" The response came at once, a chorus of fractured voices, echoing inside his skull rather than through his ears. "We want you to finish what was started. Come to us, bring the others. The truth must not die with us." Elias stumbled back from the console. His heart pounded with dread, but also with something else, curiosity. The decision was tearing him apart. If he reported this to Earth, the Council would bury it forever. They had done so once before. If he answered the call, he might uncover the greatest secret in human history or never return. His reflection stared back at him in the glass, framed by the silent, watching shapes. He had to choose.
Chapter 6. Into the Dark. The station AI repeated calmly. "Warning. Unauthorized navigation beyond the designated perimeter is forbidden. Penalty, immediate suspension of mission control." Elias ignored it. His hands flew over the console, overriding course locks one by one. Warning lights flared red across the cabin, but he didn't stop. For a moment, the figures outside the glass remained motionless, watching, waiting. And then, as if sensing his decision, they began to shift, drifting toward the coordinates of Sector X-47, guiding him. The Aquila's engines roared to life. With a shudder, the station's exploration pod detached, and Elias found himself accelerating into the abyss. The stars grew faint behind him. Darkness thickened ahead. Not empty space. This was something else, a void so absolute it swallowed even starlight. "Entering the dark expanse," he whispered, logging his final report. His voice shook. "If anyone hears this, know that Earth lied. We were not the first." Minutes stretched like hours. Then his instruments began to fail one by one. First the oxygen monitor, then the nav system. The AI stuttered, glitching in fragmented syllables before shutting off completely. Alone now, Elias stared into the dark. His breath echoed inside his helmet. And then he saw it. A structure, massive, rotating silently in the void. Not natural, not alien either. Human. Letters etched into its broken hull glinted faintly in the dim light of a dying star. Silent Horizon. The lost ship, the impossible mission from 2016. Still here, still waiting. And as his pod drifted closer, Elias realized with horror that faint lights flickered inside its windows. Not dead, not abandoned, occupied.
Chapter 7. The Ship of Ghosts. Elias's pod clamped onto the ancient hull with a metallic groan. His helmet display flickered with warnings, radiation spikes, unstable atmosphere, but he ignored them. His hands trembled as he activated the docking sequence. The airlock hissed. Darkness spilled inside like liquid shadow. He stepped through. The corridor was lined with frost, wires hanging like veins from the ceiling. Every surface bore the scars of decades adrift. Yet the ship wasn't dead. Lights pulsed faintly along the walls, like a heartbeat. Elias whispered to himself, "How is this possible?" Then he froze. A sound echoed down the hall. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Too steady to be the random creak of old machinery. "Hello?" Elias called out, his voice cracking in the silence. A figure emerged from the shadows. A man, or what used to be one. His suit was ancient, patched with metal plates and tubing that fused into his skin. His eyes glowed faintly with an unnatural light. The figure tilted his head, studying Elias like a reflection in glass. Then, in a voice both human and fractured by static, he spoke. "You came. After all this time, you finally came." Elias staggered back, his chest tightening. Who are you?" The figure's smile was broken, almost sorrowful. "I was Captain Adrian Voss, commander of the Silent Horizon. We left Earth before they told the world we even existed. We were the first." His glowing eyes dimmed, as if remembering. "And now we are the last." Behind him, shapes stirred in the darkness. More figures, more of the crew, twisted, changed, but alive. They stepped forward in unison, and Elias realized with dread that they had been waiting, not for rescue, but for him.
Final chapter. The Truth Beyond Stars. Elias stood frozen in the corridor, surrounded by the remnants of the Silent Horizon's crew. Their faces bore the traces of humanity, but their bodies were no longer entirely human. Fused with metal, wires, and alien circuitry, they were neither machine nor flesh alone. Something in the dark expanse had changed them. Captain Adrian Voss stepped closer. His voice, though broken by static, carried a strange warmth. "You've come farther than any of your people ever dared. But you are not the first. We were here before your world was ready to accept the truth." Elias's voice shook. "Why were you sent? Why did Earth bury your mission?" The captain's eyes flickered, memories surfacing like ghosts. "Because they feared what we would find. Decades ago, the Council launched us in secret, not to explore, but to make contact. They knew something waited in the void, something watching. They wanted power, knowledge, control. But what we found, it was not theirs to take." He gestured toward the walls of the ship. Circuits pulsed faintly, almost alive like veins under skin. "The expanse is not empty space. It is a living field, a consciousness woven through the dark matter itself. When we entered, it touched us. It reshaped us. Not to destroy us, but to bind us to it." Elias's chest tightened as the crew began to speak, not with voices, but with thoughts that echoed directly into his mind. "We are not lost. We are transformed. We became its memory, its guardians. But Earth silenced us, erased us, left us drifting in the dark." The captain placed a heavy half-metal hand on Elias's shoulder. "You, Morgan, were never chosen by accident. Do you think you stumbled onto our signal? No, the expanse called to you. It always chooses one to continue the chain." Elias's heart raced. "Continue what?" Voss's expression hardened. "To carry the truth back, or to join us and never return." The crew's eyes glowed brighter. The ship itself seemed to hum with their collective presence. Elias felt their memories flooding into him, visions of the day they crossed into the dark expanse, of their transformation, of Earth's betrayal. He felt their grief, their rage, their longing. And then he saw something else. The future. A vision of Earth burning under its own lies, collapsing into ruin. Humanity staring at the stars, blind to the truth that salvation, or damnation, was already waiting in the dark. Elias staggered, clutching his head. No, I can't. This isn't possible." The captain's voice echoed like thunder. "You must choose, Morgan. Return and reveal the truth, or remain here and become more than human. If you leave, Earth will silence you as day silenced us. If you stay, you will never see your world again." The silence of the ship was crushing. He could hear only his breath, the faint hum of the vessel, and the impossible chorus of minds pressing against his own. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he raised his head. I came here for answers, and I can't let the truth die in the dark. If Earth tried to erase you once, then I'll make sure the world hears your voices." The captain studied him, his expression unreadable. Then, at last, he nodded. "So be it." The crew stepped back. The walls of the silent horizon shuddered, awakening after decades of silence. Lights flared across the corridors, engines groaned to life. The ship itself seemed eager to move again. Captain Voss whispered one final sentence as Elias returned to his pod. "Remember, Morgan, when you speak the truth, they will come for you. But do not let fear bury the stars again." Epilogue, the broadcast. Days later, Elias's voice broke across every channel on Earth. His transmission cut through military jammers, council controls, and media filters. No one could stop it. This is Dr. Elias Morgan of Aquila 7. Earth lied. Humanity was not alone in its first steps into space. The Silent Horizon was launched in 2016. Its crew was betrayed, lost in the dark expanse, yet they live, changed, waiting. The universe is not empty. It is alive, and it remembers. The transmission ended, but its echoes remained. Across Earth, billions of people stared at the stars with new eyes, fearful, curious, and awake. And far beyond the Orion belt, in the endless dark, the shadows stirred once more. The silent horizon was no longer silent. It was coming home.